Throughout history, there have been individuals born with extraordinary traits who chose not to see them as burdens, but as sources of strength, from performers with unique physical abilities to talents that seem to defy imagination. These people have amazed the world. Their stories are more than performances. They are journeys of resilience, creativity, and the courage to rise above fate. And don't forget to enjoy the full video and hit that subscribe button to support us in bringing you even more inspiring stories. Mirin was far from an ordinary man. He possessed an ability that left the medical world baffled for decades. Deja could push sharp objects from large metal rods to long needles straight through his body without showing any signs of pain or bleeding. To anyone watching, it felt as if they were witnessing something that simply shouldn't be possible in real life. Doctors of the time tried every method they could to explain this extraordinary phenomenon. They conducted medical examinations, took x-rays, and ran countless tests, yet the results were always the same. There were no tricks, no illusions, and no stage magic involved. Everything was real and no one could provide a definitive explanation. By the 1940s, Mirin had become a star in performance shows, drawing thousands of people who came just to witness the walking miracle man with their own eyes. Even today, the secret behind his ability remains an unanswered mystery. No matter what the truth may be, he is still remembered as one of the most unique performers to ever exist. Born without arms and legs, Prince Randian faced an incredibly difficult beginning. But instead of letting his disability define his life, he chose to turn it into a source of strength, becoming a symbol of resilience. Randian could move with such speed and precision that audiences often found it hard to believe he had no limbs. He could roll his own cigarettes, light them, and even shave all using only his mouth. These actions were not just performance skills. They were powerful proof of his determination to live independently and his unwavering will to overcome every obstacle. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, Prince Randian had become a standout figure in performance shows, especially after joining the legendary Barnum and Bailey circus. There he captivated audiences by gliding effortlessly across the stage and showcasing astonishing control over his body. Randian's life remains one of the clearest lessons in inner strength. No matter how many limitations a person is born with, they can still rise, shine, and inspire the world. Martin Laurello was one of the most extraordinary performers ever to appear in circus history. He possessed an extremely rare physical ability. He could turn his head backward almost a full 180 degrees without rotating his shoulders or body. What's even more astonishing is that this ability wasn't an illusion, nor was it harmful. It came from an unusually flexible spinal structure that allowed him to partially dislocate his neck without experiencing pain. Martin spent years training, developing this skill safely and under full control. Johnny Eck, born in 1911 in Baltimore, was one of the most extraordinary and most inspiring figures in the history of performance art. He was born with only the upper half of his body, but instead of letting that limit his life, Johnny turned it into a driving force. He wasn't just a sideshow performer, he became an actor, painter, musician, filmmaker, and even an acrobat. Johnny possessed a powerful creative spirit and was determined to prove that people are not defined by their appearance, but by their talent and their will to rise above every challenge. Johnny's major turning point came in 1932 when he appeared in the classic film Freaks. That role not only brought him fame, but also served as a powerful declaration Johnny wasn't a curiosity, who was a true artist with his own unmistakable presence. Through his image and his work, Johnny Eck delivered a strong message that uniqueness is something to be valued. He became a symbol of determination, courage, and the strength to rise above fate, an enduring source of inspiration for generations to come. Myrtle, born in 1868, had a rare condition called dipagus, which caused an additional pair of legs to form from an underdeveloped twin. This gave her a very distinctive appearance, but it never stopped her from living a full life. At the age of 13, Myrtle began performing on the circus stage. Audiences of the time weren't just curious, they were genuinely captivated by the confidence and warm personality of the young girl from Texas. Alice, born in 1887 in Minneapolis, became known as the Wolf Girl due to a rare condition called hypertrichosis lanugo, a disorder that caused her body to be covered in a thicker, softer layer of hair than usual. Her unusual appearance drew attention from a very young age. Because of financial hardship, her parents placed Alice in curiosity and sideshow exhibitions to earn extra income for the family. Even at a young age, Alice always appeared with a sweet and natural demeanor which made audiences adore her. Rather than focusing solely on her unusual appearance, many people were drawn to her warmth and unique personality. Pascual was originally just a Mexican railroad worker trying to make a living through simple everyday labor. Everything changed when a curious show promoter noticed him because of a large growth or cyst on his head, a physical feature that made him stand out. But instead of approaching the situation with empathy, the promoter chose to exploit it to draw crowds. They created a fake second face using makeup and prosthetics, placing it over the growth, complete with eyes, a nose, and a mouth, turning Pascual into the so-called two-headed man in the eyes of the audience. Pauline, born in 1876 in the Netherlands, was known as one of the smallest women in the world, standing at only about 58 centimeters tall. Despite her tiny stature, Pauline possessed an incredible zest for life and a magnetic charm that amazed audiences everywhere she went. She quickly became a star in vaudeville shows and special performances, not just because of her rare appearance, but because of her confidence, cheerful spirit, and warm presence. Pauline traveled across the world, bringing joy and laughter to thousands of spectators. Even though she faced many challenges related to her health and daily life, she never allowed her physical size to limit her dreams or her determination to live fully. Born in 1811 in Thailand, Chang and Eng Bunker were conjoined twins connected at the chest and partially through the liver. They were the reason the term Siamese twins came into existence, as they were the first pair to make this rare physical connection known to the world. In 1829, the brothers traveled to the United States and began a new chapter of their lives. They appeared in specialty exhibitions and quickly gained attention for their remarkable coordination. Despite being physically joined, they could walk, run, exercise, and even do household tasks together with impressive harmony. But what's even more remarkable is that they proved their condition was not a barrier to love or to living full, independent lives. Both men married, built families, and together fathered a total of 21 children, an achievement unheard of in the history of conjoined twins. Through determination and incredible strength of spirit, they lived long, successful lives. Chang and Eng were not just stage sensations. They became enduring symbols of what it means to rise above limitations and live fully, no matter how extraordinary the circumstances may be. Schlitzie, born in 1901 with microcephaly, never let his condition define him. With his joyful, childlike personality and boundless positive energy, he quickly became a beloved figure in early 20th century sideshows. Audiences adored his innocence and sweetness. Throughout his life, Schlitzie brought happiness to countless people, and despite his limitations, he lived each day with optimism and joy.
His story reminds us that a person's true value lies not in appearance or perfection, but in the spirit and light they bring into the world.
Schlitzie was not just a familiar face in early 20th century sideshows, he was a true performer. With his joyful personality and genuine charm, he easily brought laughter to audiences through singing, dancing, and playful storytelling. His warm smile left a lasting impression, making anyone who met him feel instantly at ease. After appearing in the film Freaks in 1932, Schlitzie became known across the United States. Most importantly, he wasn't recognized only for his unique appearance, but for his talent, his spirit, and the remarkable optimism he carried throughout his life. Born in 1858 in Wisconsin, Felix soon discovered he had a rare ability. His skin could stretch astonishingly far, and his joints were far more flexible than normal. He was like a real-life rubber man, a natural human phenomenon. This unique talent brought him to performances in museums and major circuses, including the famous Ringling Brothers. Audiences were stunned as they watched his bending and stretching abilities right before their eyes. Many experts believe Felix may have had Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, a condition affecting connective tissue that makes the skin and joints unusually flexible. Charles Stratton, known by his stage name Tom Thumb, was born in 1838 and stood at only about 63 centimeters tall. Despite his small stature, he possessed remarkable talent and a naturally charming personality. At just 4 years old, he was discovered by famed showman P.T. Barnum, who quickly recognized his star potential. Tom Thumb soon became a major attraction at Barnum's American Museum in New York. He could sing, dance, act, and even perform lively impersonations of historical figures. Audiences loved him not because of the uniqueness of his body, but because of his genuine talent and captivating stage presence. But it was his charm and impressive stage talent that truly won people over. Tom became an international sensation, touring across Europe and even having the honor of meeting Queen Victoria. His image appeared on trading cards, souvenirs, and most importantly, in the hearts of countless fans. Tom Thumb's life proves that true artistry comes from talent and hard work. If his story inspired you, leave a 1 in the comments. If not, drop a 0. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel and catch the next amazing stories. Coo Coo, whose real name was Minnie Woolsey, was born in 1880 in Georgia and lived with a rare condition that gave her body and face a very distinctive appearance. But instead of being limited by it, she turned that uniqueness into her signature. With a cheerful voice and lively personality, she always made audiences smile. Her energetic dance routines paired with her iconic feathered costumes made her one of the most memorable performers of her era. Coo Coo also appeared in the 1932 film Freaks by director Todd Browning, where she continued to showcase her charm and vibrant individuality.
Edward Mordrake is said to have been born into a well-off family in 19th century England with a remarkable trait of formation on the back of his head that was described as resembling a second face. In folklore and retellings, this unusual condition was often portrayed as a strange and troubling burden that made life difficult for him. Some versions of the story claim the feature caused him sleeplessness and anxiety, giving rise to many eerie and dramatic legends over time.
However, it's important to note that there is no verified historical evidence that Edward Mordrake ever truly existed. Most researchers consider the story an urban legend, a tale woven over time shaped by old medical mysteries people once struggled to understand. The story of Edward Mordrake survives mainly as a piece of folklore, reminding us that not everything strange in history is real. It reflects the power of human imagination and how the unexplained can easily evolve into myth.
Born in 1889 in Sicily, Frank Lentini entered the world with a third leg, a rare congenital condition that set him apart from birth. But instead of seeing it as a barrier, Frank turned his uniqueness into strength and joy. When he was 8 years old, his family moved to Connecticut, and not long after, Frank began performing with circus troupes. He quickly became a beloved entertainer thanks to his creative acts, often using his third leg to jump rope or kick a ball, charming audiences with both skill and spirit.
Those routines were not only unique but genuinely entertaining, delighting audiences everywhere he performed. Frank also became well known for his humorous storytelling. He often joked that he needed to eat a little extra to feed his additional leg, a light-hearted way of embracing and celebrating who he was. His life stands as a vivid reminder that differences can become strengths. Through his optimism, self-deprecating humor, and positive outlook, Frank inspired countless people with the message that anyone can find happiness and success no matter what challenges they face. Annie Jones was born in 1865 in Virginia and showed early signs of hypertrichosis, a condition that causes excessive hair growth. By the age of 5, she already had a mustache and beard, making her an extraordinary figure for her time. She was soon discovered by famed showman P.T. Barnum, who brought her to the American Museum in New York. But Annie wasn't admired only for her unusual appearance. She carried herself with grace, warmth, and a charming personality that allowed her to connect effortlessly with audiences, earning genuine affection wherever she appeared. Ella, born in 1870, had genu recurvatum, a condition that caused her knees to bend backward, allowing her to move on all fours with remarkable ease. Thanks to this unusual ability, Ella quickly became a standout performer in circus shows during the 1880s. At just 14, she began her career on stage and immediately drew public attention. Audiences from far and wide came to witness her flexible movements and her naturally captivating performance style. Fanny, born in Ohio in the 1860s, lived with Milroy disease, a form of lymphedema that caused her legs and feet to swell to an unusual size. Her legs measured about 20 inches long and nearly 8 inches wide, a feature that made her a prominent attraction in circuses and museum shows of the time. Curious audiences flocked to see the young woman with the remarkable legs, and Fanny quickly became a sensation. But what made her truly memorable wasn't just her distinctive appearance, it was her strong spirit and fierce independence. Lavinia Warren, widely known by her stage name Charmin, was born in 1858 and became one of the most remarkable aerial performers of her era. More than just an entertainer, she was a symbol of breaking boundaries for women in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Charmin was admired for her strength, boldness, and unmistakable confidence. Performing high above the ground, she showcased exceptional skill, remarkable flexibility, and a distinct style that kept audiences mesmerized. Her stage presence brought surprise excitement and creativity qualities that helped make her a star at major theaters and circuses. What made Charmin truly unforgettable wasn't just her skill, but her pioneering spirit. She proved that women could be strong, fearless, and every bit as talented as anyone else. Charmin inspired generations of women to step beyond society's expectations and pursue their passions with courage and confidence.
George and Willie Muse were born in Virginia in the late 19th century and grew up under strikingly different circumstances. George was black while Willie had albinism, making the contrast between the two brothers immediately noticeable. This difference drew unwanted attention and eventually pulled them into the sideshow world, where promoters often exploited unusual appearances to attract crowds. As children, the brothers were separated from their family and taken into traveling shows. They were given bizarre stage names and marketed with exaggerated, often fabricated narratives designed to spark curiosity rather than reflect who they truly were. Despite everything, George and Willie never lost their resilience. They developed strong musical skills playing horns and singing, bringing real depth and artistic value to their performances. But the most powerful part of their story is the bond with their mother and the fight for justice. Harriet Muse, their biological mother, never stopped searching for her sons, and she eventually brought them home through a determined legal battle. Their reunion not only restored George and Willie's freedom, but also became a symbol of family love and the fight for human rights. Their story offers a deeper understanding of the entertainment world during that era. Stefan Bobrowski, born in 1890 in Poland, became better known by his stage name Lionel due to a condition called hypertrichosis, which caused thick hair to grow across his face and body. His unusual appearance reminded many people of a young lion, which is how his stage name was born. At just 4 years old, Lionel was discovered by a German circus owner who recognized his performance potential. With his friendly nature, sharp mind, and striking appearance, he quickly became a major attraction on circus stages throughout Europe. What made Lionel truly stand out was not just his unusual appearance, but his genuine talent. He told stories, performed acrobatics, and showcased impressive physical strength. Fluent in several languages and gifted with exceptional communication skills, Lionel earned the admiration of Europe's upper class, something extremely rare for a sideshow performer of that era. As a star of the Barnum and Bailey Circus, Lionel toured across Europe and the Americas, becoming an international icon. His story reminds us that uniqueness does not define a person with talent. Intelligence and character are what truly make a great performer. Isaac,
born in 1841 in Massachusetts, began losing weight rapidly at the age of 12. Even with proper care and a full diet, his body continued to grow unusually thin, something doctors at the time could not explain. In 1865, Isaac joined P.T. Barnum's circus and quickly became one of its major attractions. Audiences were fascinated by his slender frame, but it was his confidence and the way he shared his personal journey that truly earned their admiration. During his performances, Isaac shared the story of his life, speaking about the challenges he faced and how he chose to live positively despite his unusual appearance. Many believed he suffered from a severe metabolic disorder or a form of muscle wasting, but the true cause remained a medical mystery. Even so, Isaac used his differences not to shock or frighten audiences, but to inspire them with a message of resilience, adaptation, and strength in the face of adversity. Grady, born in 1937, had ectrodactyly, a congenital condition that gave his hands and feet a distinctive appearance. Despite this difference, Grady never backed down. He followed his family's circus tradition and became a beloved performer thanks to his remarkable dexterity and creativity. Audiences were amazed by his control, precision, and ability to execute challenging routines. Grady proved that a congenital condition does not define a person's abilities or their worth. However, Grady's personal life also went through difficult periods. He faced significant psychological pressures and many challenges throughout his journey to adulthood. These experiences show that behind the spotlight sideshow, performers often carried far more emotional weight than the public realized. Grady passed away in 1992. Although his life was filled with ups and downs, his story serves as an important reminder that empathy, care, and understanding are essential if we want to see others for their true worth. Daisy and Violet Hilton, born in 1908 in England, were conjoined twins joined at the hip and part of the lower back, sharing a circulatory system but possessing separate organs. From a very young age, their lives were far from easy. They were placed under the control of their adoptive mother, Mary Hilton, who took them to circuses and fairs to be displayed to the public. After Mary passed away, her daughter Edith and Edith's husband continued to exploit the sisters, controlling their finances and denying them any personal freedom. Despite these hardships, Daisy and Violet developed remarkable talents. They could sing, dance, and play musical instruments, quickly becoming beloved vaudeville performers.
In 1931, after years of mistreatment, Daisy and Violet decided to stand up for themselves. They filed a lawsuit against their adoptive parents and won their freedom, a turning point in their lives. From then on, they managed their own careers, appearing in films such as Freaks and Chained for Life, becoming true independent performers. Their journey is a powerful testament to inner strength, to the ability to rise above hardship and take control of one's own destiny. Daisy and Violet showed that even in the most challenging circumstances, people can still find a path toward freedom and self-determination.
Grace McDaniels was born with Sturge-Weber syndrome, which caused her skin to thicken and created distinct facial markings. In an era with little medical understanding and very little acceptance of physical differences, Grace faced many hurtful comments and harsh judgments, but she refused to let those words define her worth. She insisted on being introduced with dignity and chose to meet her audience with strength and self-respect. Even though she performed in sideshows, Grace always carried herself with calmness, kindness, and quiet resilience. Those who worked with Grace described her as gentle, quiet, and full of compassion, nothing like the harsh stereotypes society tried to place on her. Over time, Grace learned to love herself and embrace her uniqueness, becoming a source of inspiration for many. Her personal life wasn't always easy, especially as her son struggled with his own challenges. Even so, Grace's life remained a beautiful story of resilience. When she passed away in 1958, she left behind a powerful message: appearance does not define a person's true radiance comes from the strength of one's spirit.
James Morris, often known by the nickname the Elastic Skin Man, was one of the most astonishing contortionists in circus history. He became so famous that many people compared him to Felix Worley, and the two were frequently considered the top contenders for the title of the most flexible man alive at the time. Imagine someone able to bend their arms and legs in ways that seemed to defy the limits of the human body. That was James. He could twist his torso, stretch his skin, and perform movements so fluid and unbelievable that audiences often couldn't trust their own eyes.
If you've ever met or known someone with a special ability or extraordinary determination that truly inspired you, leave a number 1 in the comments. If not, drop a 0. Don't forget to watch the full video, hit like and share, and leave a sub to support the channel. Your support helps us continue bringing meaningful and inspiring stories to everyone. If you'd like me to create a few different versions so you can choose the best one for each video, I can do that anytime.